Xavier Abou Eid. He's a political analyst and former PLO advisor. He joins us from occupied East Jerusalem. Now, before we talk about how things have changed, I wonder if you could paint a picture for our viewers on what Easter traditionally has been like for Palestinian Christians in the occupied territories over recent generations.
Thank you. I think traditionally we did not have occupied territories to start with. Traditionally, there was not an occupation. Traditionally, we had a Palestinian identity and culture that was very rooted in our symbols and the cities that are all over Palestine. In this case, when we are talking about resurrection, it's of course about Jerusalem. And Palestinian Christians from all over the country would come into Jerusalem from all their parishes after even celebrating their own events in their own cities or villages. What we witnessed today was not just an attempt at disrupting this Palestinian tradition, but what we're witnessing now is clearly an attempt at disrupting Palestine's social fabric as a whole. And I just want to make one point. No, when we talk about the Holy Fire Saturday ceremony, we're talking about a ceremony where all of Palestine connects with Jerusalem. The Holy Fire comes out from the Holy Sepulchre and it goes immediately all over Palestine. Last year was the first year in centuries that the Holy Fire did not make it to Gaza because of the ongoing genocide. We don't know what's going to happen this year. Probably they're not going to get the fire. But also people that came from other places of Palestine, like Ramallah, like Bethlehem, like Nablus, to get the Holy Fire, they were prevented from accessing the church and they had to wait for the Holy Fire outside the church against the traditions that we've had here for centuries.
So give us a sense of how things have changed then, how difficult it is now for Palestinian Christians to visit Jerusalem. I believe you yourself have had to get several permits in order to make the visit today. Talk about those challenges.
The main issue here is that the Israeli occupation has illegally annexed Jerusalem. They've been trying to isolate the city from the rest of the Arab world and from the rest of the occupied Palestinian territory. Why I mentioned the Arab world, it's because before 1967, before the Israeli occupation, people would hear different Arabic accents during Easter here. People coming from Lebanon, from Syria, from Egypt, from Iraq, from Jordan, which is not the case anymore. But it's not just that we cannot get people from the rest of the Arab world, we're also not getting people here from Palestine itself. So Israel is isolating Jerusalem, and now for this celebration is literally turning the city into a militarily besieged city more than into a place for prayers and tradition. They clearly are not interested on Palestinians to remain attached to the city, whether they're Christians or Muslims. But of course, for an issue of numbers, perhaps it's much easier for them to target the Palestinian Christian traditions, which, by the way, historically have also been joined by Palestinian Muslims, particularly here in occupied Jerusalem.
And given everything you've just described and the challenges, how would you describe the mood of people this Easter? How are they marking these celebrations in these challenging times?
I cannot define Easter this year as anything but being extremely sad. If we were to look at Easter from a Christian theology perspective, Christian is about life defeating death, and therefore it's a message of hope. I may add, it's a Palestinian message of hope coming out of Jerusalem. But this year, people, of course, are not blind. Hundreds, if not thousands, of Palestinians from Jerusalem, not even coming from elsewhere in the occupied West Bank, were banned from joining their relatives inside the old city and inside the Holy Sepulchre. And let's not remember that Palestinian society is not a society that lives fragmented from each other. We have people in Jerusalem today with relatives in Gaza, with relatives shielding at the St. Porphyrios Church, Orthodox Church, and the Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza. People that have lost their own relatives in the ongoing Israeli genocide, in addition to what's going on here in the occupied West Bank. So clearly, with the images we and what we have been going through during this Easter is something sad. But if we are to remain attached to the religious message of Easter, it remains a message of hope. And I think Palestinians in general and Palestinian Christians in particular are up to the challenge of keeping that message alive.
Okay, I appreciate your time today. Xavier Abou Eid, political analyst and former PLO advisor, speaking to us there from occupied East Jerusalem.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.